The watchman is to keep an eye on the distant horizon, and as soon as clouds of dust or a gleam of armor give notice of the approach of the army, he's to sound the trumpet of alarm.
That's right.
Part of that sounding the trumpet of alarm is to preach the gospel.
Yeah, that's it.
To tell the people what the Word says. The modern church has lost its way because of unfaithful watchmen.
It's true. Come on.
The watchman can cater to the public whim, desiring only to preach a feel-good gospel. But his blood will I require on the watchman's hands. The person who is taken because he has not been warned, his blood will be upon the watchman's hand. I've thought about that, and I know I wouldn't want to be some of these ministers. Oh, they got their fame now. And everybody looking at them now, and they're living in their mansions, and they're driving their big cars, and everybody looks at them as spiritual giants. But I wouldn't want to be them when it comes time to stand before God. Because look at all the blood that's on their hands if they did not preach that gospel. So you, O man of God, I have set you as a watchman, in verse 7, upon the house of Israel. Therefore you shall hear the word of my mouth and warn them from me. The preacher is to hear from God and deliver what he has heard. So that's saying that we need, all of us need to, the preacher needs to have a prayer life.
Yeah.
Now let's just look at this. In Ezekiel, and this is repeated again, in Ezekiel chapter 3, in verse 16 and 17, it says, Son of man, I have made you a watchman upon the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth, and give them warning from me. And that's what the preacher should be doing, is has a prayer life. And as the Lord brings the word, it's not a word that you want him to preach. It's a word that God has told him to preach, to bring that warning to the people. When I say unto the wicked, you shall surely die, and you shall give him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at your hand. And if you warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul. Again, when a righteous man does turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die. Because you have not given him warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at your hand. Nevertheless, if you warn the righteous man that that righteous sin not, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also, you have delivered your soul. What it's saying there, then, is you need to tell the sinner that he needs to be saved. And also, like it says, there'll be warnings come from the Lord, and it's the responsibility of that one preaching